Standby please, electric sound, wardrobe, wig, stage management, stage crew, flyers and all technical departments.
Welcome to Leave the Ghost Light On. So yes, here I am coming to you from my 14-year-old nephew's bedroom.
From Florida, right?
In Florida, yes, in Fort Lauderdale. I'm gonna try to not touch anything because
Because, ooh,
because
14-year-olds.
teenager boys are gross.
That, I think, is definitely a fair assessment. That's
I mean,
all
he
right.
does have cool. You can. I don't know if you'd be able to see that. He
I saw
has.
it for a second. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, he has the Doctor Who sheets.
nice.
And actually, my brother, his dad, painted the door of his bedroom to look like the TARDIS.
Oh, that's
It's
cute.
super cool.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I love it when parents let kids do that.
Mhm. Okay.
Oh, man.
Like, it looks legit. It's got, like, the little sign, everything. Yeah, it's very cute.
Oh, nice. Well, I apologize because I probably sound sick today.
A little bit. You're a little. I hear the stuffiness.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nasally, and
Oh.
I was starting to feel it, and then I went and did my mermaiding, and I was kind of hoping that I was essentially going to get like a saline flush for 9 hours and be like magically cured, and it made me feel really good yesterday swimming around in salt water, and then I woke up today and was like, darn.
Oh, shit.
So, but I do really quick have an update from our last episode, which I think if I put them in order, it should have been my tragedy with the Roy and Siegfried.
Oh, yeah.
So I talked to my old coworker. I keep wanting to call him my coworker, but we're not coworkers anymore. Gary, who used to work for Siegfried and Roy,
Mhm.
and got some of the insider. So fun fact, I found out exactly what happened, like what caused the accident. So I wanted to like update everybody because
Yes.
essentially there was what the press said, there was what Siegfried and Roy said, and then all that kind of a thing. Long story short, like what the press said was that Siegfried or that Roy had a stroke and the tire was somehow like saving him.
Right.
And then there was also the thought of like, oh, well, he was just having like an off day kind of a thing. Also, one second, Juniper's batting around something. Sorry, she was batting around like a tiny little ornament. So apparently the real reason that it happened was basically the trainers were like, Manticore is having a bad day. Like, he is not ready. He doesn't want to perform today. Do not choose him. And apparently, Roy was like very insistent on it and was like, no, I want Manticore today. We're using him. Despite everybody being like, no. So, long story short, he was a cat. He was just a cat that day and just didn't feel like cooperating and literally was like, you're my food today because I don't feel like doing this.
God. Ooh.
So, yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, fun fact. But yeah, and apparently like he like there's a whole thing of like, oh, like he like dragged him off stage. Like, no, he like pounced on him, bit him, and like pulled him off stage like a freaking gazelle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, while you were talking about it, I was even thinking like, cats know when they are trying to kill something, they go for the jugular. Like that's how you kill something. They're not dumb.
Exactly. So that was just kind of fun when like I went to go have drinks with all of them and they were like, "Oh, like which one what was the reasoning did you say?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I was just going off of the research that I had." And everybody at the table was like, "Well, we're all industry people that were working around here during this time." So they told me the real reason. Also, I didn't know this, but my other coworker, Driscoll, has apparently worked with elephants before.
Oh.
And had like an elephant girlfriend, and it was very cute, but that's a story for another time. But I was like, why are you guys just now telling me these things? I worked with you for 5 years.
It's gonna make me think of when we saw Water for Elephants, which was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. He has a Water for Elephants like story, essentially. Like where somebody was using a bull hook on an elephant and he watched it kill a guy.
Damn right.
I'll tell that story later when I'm not completely
Yeah.
Look.
Well, you look cute, so who cares?
Thank you. Oh man. Oh, and I had one other thing that I wanted to say. Have you been watching, like, you've seen the trailers for the Romeo and Juliet on Broadway, right? I don't know a lot about like this version of Romeo and Juliet, but I kind of talked about it with Eddie just a little bit. But basically I feel like it became popular because who is it? Kit Connor does like this
The
insane pull up.
Mhm.
So, fun fact, because I was like, God damn, I want to see somebody do a pull up into a kiss. So I downloaded Broadway HD, which we should
Ooh.
definitely get them as one of our sponsors.
Ooh.
And I've been binging it. I know, because like I've been like, I'm only gonna keep it for a month, and I'm just gonna watch as much stuff as I can. So I found a version of Romeo and Juliet when it was on Broadway in, I think it said 2016. Fun fact, in the Richard and Rogers Theater.
Oh.
So actually Romeo and Juliet was there in between In the Heights and Hamilton.
Oh, that's cool.
And the guy who played Romeo was Orlando Bloom.
Oh shit. I did not
Yummy.
know that at all.
Me neither. Broadway HD, it's coming. I love it.
I
Anyway,
wonder if he's any good as a stage actor. I have no idea.
he was. I really liked it. I'll give you my login so that you can binge stuff with me. I don't think there's a limit. I already gave my mom one. But no, so I was watching Romeo and Juliet, and it's very good. I really, really like it. Fun fact.
You should cut out that part that you say you're going to give me your login because they won't sponsor us.
I know. I'll cut that out, I promise. But fun fact, Orlando Bloom does a pull up.
Does he really?
He does. And I was like,
Okay.
well, I would rather see Orlando Bloom do the pull up than that kid.
Which I'm sure he's lovely and wonderful, but we all know that Orlando Bloom is yummy.
Orlando Bloom's my man. So
he's very
that is my OG crush right there. But either way, I was legit like watching, I think, Romeo and Juliet at like 1 a.m. and was like, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch all the way until like his whole speech. And I swear to God, if he does a pull up, I'm gonna scream. And he sure did. So anyway, I just had to share that exciting news of like the pull up is not anything new. So, but anyway, that's all of my fun facts. Well, do you want to go ahead and get started?
Oh yes. Okay. So it's going to be weird, like kind of reading off my phone because since I don't have my dual screens, I'm not going to be like looking
That's all
right. Let's see. Now I got to pull it up. Hold on.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You stood by me when I used a shoe as a microphone holder. So.
Always. Oh my goodness. Okay, got it. Okay. So I'm going first because I have the tragedy this week, but I want to preface this by saying I just found this tragedy to be fascinating because it's not like any of the other ones we've covered so far, because it's only about the death of one person. But the history behind this location and this person were, I thought, worthy of coverage. So I was like, you know what, we're going to do it anyway. So we're going to the Biograph Theater in Chicago, Illinois.
Nice.
The Biograph. So this was originally designed by architect Samuel M. Nope.
Samuel M. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel N. Crowan in 1914. The Biograph was originally designed as a film and movie house and has many of the distinguishing characteristics of movie houses of the period, including a storefront with lobby, a recessed entrance, a freestanding ticket booth, which is actually still there, and a canopy marquee. All of that is actually still there.
Nice.
The theater is, the building itself is actually covered with red pressed brick, which is actually very common for Chicago. Is like, you know, the red brick is very Chicago thing, and white glazed terracotta on the outside. So it's cute. It's not anything like spectacular, fancy looking, but it's still very much of the 1914.
She cute. Mm-hmm.
She cute.
Mm-hmm. You said 1914?
Yes.
That's so fun. My theater was built in 1915.
Ooh. And then the theater building was remodeled in the 1930s and again in the 1980s. In the 30s, the present marquee and ticket booth were added, and the entrance. And the entrance was modernized with Art Deco detailing, including a streamlined metal sign. I can't read. Including streamlined metal sign cases and a new typeface for the theater signage. So all those like cool metal frames that you have for old movie posters and stuff.
Right.
In 1983, two smaller theaters, the Roxy and the Ritz, were constructed on the second floor of the building, and the windows were painted black. A ticket booth was also installed in the storefront immediately north of the theater entrance. So the 1930s era freestanding ticket booth, though no longer functional, still remains. And then from the 1970s through the 1980s, the Biograph was the center in Chicago for midnight showings with raucous costume cult following, like movies like take a wild guess of what cult movie they might show a lot at midnight.
I don't know cult movies.
The one where people dress up for it.
Oh, Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It became like the big center for that.
You know, I've never done that before.
Oh my God. Heather and I started doing it when we were far too young. So like 13, 14.
Nice. I also only saw Rocky Horror Picture Show for the first time when I think I was like in my 20s. So
damn.
I know I somehow avoided it. So we should do that.
I'm not the one that popped your Rocky Horror cherry.
No, I don't think.
Anytime that new people come to do the live shows, they will call you a virgin and they will bring you up to the front of the room and paint a big V on your forehead, and they will like give you prizes and like it's a really really
please
fun
let's go. I want to do that.
I love it. Hell yes. Don't have to ask me twice. So then in July of 2004, after 90 years as a movie theater under various owners, Chicago's Victory Gardens Theater announced it had purchased the Biograph for use as a live venue. So Victory Gardens, the theater company, was actually originally begun in 1974. So they were originally in a location about 2 blocks away. And then the theater was completely renovated by architect Daniel P. Coffey, who constructed a proscenium thrust stage and seating for 299 people, which is pretty good in Chicago.
Yeah.
Especially because most theaters there are like storefronts. So it's like maybe 100 people or less.
Yeah.
A grand staircase, which was part of the original structure, was restored to lead up to the building's second floor, housing a studio theater, seating 135 people, and an adjacent rehearsal and multiple use space. So all of that was officially completed in 2006. So I will give you 2 guesses as to what the tragedy associated with the Biograph is, and I bet you will get them wrong.
Well, you said it involved one person, right?
I know I shouldn't have said that. I gave it away. But take a guess of like what could have happened at this place that is tragic or that is...
They were struck by lightning.
That's a cool guess, but it's not right.
I only guessed that because what was that? That was, I think, was that in Louisiana?
Oh, Brazil. Oh, we have to cover that.
No, the one where you covered somebody who was struck by lightning. I think that was like Louisiana or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Le Petit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway,
but there's a really bad one in Brazil that we'll have to cover at some point.
Yes, we do.
Whew. Yeah, so here's the real story. This is absolutely wild. The Biograph Theater is forever linked to the death of infamous criminal John Dillinger. So what, if anything, Jillian, do you know about John Dillinger?
I know nothing.
Have you heard of the Dillinger gun?
No.
Oh, there's a little style. The Dillinger is like a little tiny pistol.
Okay.
Because I'm a punk child first, I knew of the band Dillinger Escape Plan.
Okay.
Which I honestly, I should have looked up. I don't even know if they're still a band, but I used to love them.
That's right.
So John Herbert Dillinger was born in 1903 in Indianapolis. This is, I got so much information about this. This was just like, so this is, this is more the biography of John Dillinger than it is a tragedy, but we'll get to the tragedy, I promise.
No, I like it.
It's just so fascinating, and I didn't know any of this stuff. So His mom died when he was 4, and as a teenager, he was frequently in trouble for fighting and petty theft. His father relocated the family to the country, which apparently did nothing to improve his behavior, which, duh. I actually wrote which, duh.
Which, duh.
In 1923, he was arrested for auto theft. He only served like 6 months or something. He enlisted in the Navy, but was dishonorably discharged after desertion when his ship was docked in Boston only a few months into his service. He was like, this ain't for me.
I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
And then in 1924, he and a partner robbed a grocery store, during which he assaulted a clerk by bludgeoning him. The details of that are very horrible.
Oh.
And the guy did survive somehow, but it's woof. Like, it's not cool. He and his partner were arrested, and Dillinger served 9 years in prison, where he met several other notorious criminals, of course. And when he was put in jail, he is quoted as saying, quote, "I will be the meanest bastard you ever saw when I get out of here."
Man. So he's not going to be rehabilitated.
No, that does not bode well.
No.
He's like already sworn that he will not get rehabilitated. Like,
yeah, essentially.
We should maybe be on the lookout for this.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was good to his word, because within a month of his parole in May 1933, he robbed one bank in Ohio and attempted robbery of the Marshall Field's textile plant in Monticello, Indiana. Over the course of the next year, so this is 13 months. Over the course of his next year, Dillinger and his gang, which was called Dillinger's Boys, included such nefarious individuals as Babyface Nelson and Pretty Boy Floyd. So those were two of the baddest motherfuckers you've ever heard of. Like, if you've ever seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
Babyface Nelson is that guy who with the gun, and then he robs the banks. That guy was a piece of shit. Like, none of these guys are good guys. There's no heroes here. They terrorized the Midwest, killing 10 men, wounding 7 others, robbing at least 12 banks and 3 police arsenals, and engineering 3 jailbreaks. So, and this is where that the band name Dillinger Escape Plan comes from, because he was highly known for this. One of his most famous exploits was his escape from a quote-unquote escape-proof jail, of course they all say they are, in Crown Point, Indiana. On March 3rd, 1934, Dillinger forced a guard to open his cell using a mock gun that he carved from wood and blackened with boot black.
I know it's not, but I'm just imagining it just being like a little twig. And he's just like,
yeah, look out, you.
Bang.
Get you, man. Oh no. But anyway, somehow, even with that, he managed to convince them to let him out for some fucking reason. Nice. He helped himself to the jail's arsenal, and then he used those machine guns to lock up as many as 30 guards before fleeing. So then he got real guns, and he was like, let's corral all of these guys.
What a guy.
In June, the FBI certified Dillinger's rise to infamy when it made him public enemy number 1 and offered a $10,000 reward for his capture. Shit, I didn't look up the exchange rate. You want to do that real quick?
Yes, I do. What year is it again?
1934, $10,000.
Okay.
I'm sticky.
Yeah, because you're... I'm sticky as I hold a candy cane that I've been eating nonstop. All right, 10,000.
Yep, in 1934.
Ooh, that's $200,000.
Holy crapola!
Mm-hmm.
I also, so $200,000 for public enemy number 1. Which,
nice.
I mean, actually, if you think about it now, that does seem pretty reasonable today for like the guy that is the worst person we can think of. We need to get him off the streets. He's about to be back in the White House, but it's fine.
That's true. I'm sure if Luigi was still running around, they'd be like, ah! We won't talk about that. That'll take too long to talk about.
So anyway, we should remember, however, that this was at the height of the Great Depression, and because of this 13-month crime spree combined with the general population's downtrodden mood during the Great Depression and a growing distrust of banks, gave Dillinger the status of a folk hero to many. News of his robberies was followed closely by radio and newspapers and frequently received banner headlines. So people were like, oh, this guy's maybe actually doing the good work. So like, I will tell you offhand, not a looker. Not,
not Luigi.
No. Pretty Boy Floyd, though. That one's
There's a reason he's called Pretty Boy Floyd.
That's right. In July of 1934, Dillinger was dating 26-year-old Polly Hamilton, a waitress and part-time sex worker who was friends, with the madam, whose name was Anna Kumpianos, who was aka Anna Sage, and also nicknamed the Woman in Red.
Ooh.
Once Kumpianos became aware of Dillinger's, there we go. Lost my place for a second. Once she became aware of Dillinger's real identity, she considered turning him in as a way of obtaining permanent U.S. residence, as she was a Romanian immigrant who was threatened with deportation for quote unquote low moral character, which I wrote, also known as what I'm sure many of our oligarchical leaders would consider being the best kind of capitalist, one that serves men's needs by exploiting women.
Like, there you go. Yep.
Anyway. Anna had been in touch with Melvin Purvis, one of the top agents of the newly formed FBI, who had been able to secure pardons for her in exchange for her cooperation. So she was already like in the deal. Kumpianos revealed that she and the couple were going to see a movie together on the next day. She agreed to wear a red dress so police could easily identify her. She was unsure which two of the theaters they would attend, the Biograph or the Marlboro. So she was like, I'll just wear a red dress and then you can just watch us go into whichever one.
I'll just wear a bright ass dress so you can just tell.
That's right.
That makes sense.
Purvis put agents at both theaters and told them to look for Anna. But as she later described it, it was actually a dark orange dress.
No.
So she should be the woman in orange, but same thing.
Yeah.
They already knew what she looked like, so it's not hard. When the movie let out at 10:15, nope. I just can't read today.
That's all right.
When the movie let out at 10:45 p.m., Dillinger, Polly, and Anna started walking south, passing Purvis, who was in front of a bar next to the theater. Purvis later recalled, quote, he gave me a piercing look. Just after he went by and was outside the building due south, I raised my hand and gave the prearranged signal. Reports state that at the alley, Dillinger reached for a gun inside of his pants pocket, but before he could get it out, the FBI and police had already fired 5 shots, 2 of them hitting Dillinger. He collapsed in the alley and died en route to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Still, Dillinger's demise at the Biograph only added to the legendary reputation that people had already ascribed to him. Within an hour of his death, this is real fucked up. Within an hour of his death, hundreds of people had gathered at the Biograph, many dipping their blood, wow, let me try that one again.
You're fine.
Within an hour of his death, hundreds of people had gathered at the Biograph, many dipping their handkerchiefs in the gangster's blood where he fell.
Ew, why?
Thronged to the morgue in a ghoulish parade.
Ew, why?
Keepsakes, don't you want the cool, badass gangster's blood, I guess?
No, I mean, no. I guess, who was it?
No.
I was trying to think, I was like, is there anybody whose blood I would collect? And it's like, no, or at least if I would, I wouldn't say it.
Ew. Like, no.
No, that's like, wasn't it Lil Nas who like paired with Nike and like had like developed a shoe that had like a little drop of his blood in it or something?
Is that real? Oh,
I think so.
Yikes.
It was something like that. I don't know. It was gross. Anyway.
Nobody wants your blood.
No, biohazard, icky.
If somebody wants your blood, you should be wary.
Yeah, you should be on Vampire Diaries.
So today, the Victory Gardens Biograph is still standing, but here's the kicker. Because of a whole lot of bullshit that the Victory Gardens Administrative Board did, which is a whole other story, they do not plan to have any future productions in the space at this time.
Whoa.
It is a whole big ass story of like the whole board resigned. Oh, it's bad. It's really bad. is real bad. However, there are some spooky cookies that are seen and heard in the area as well. So apparently, once the 1970 renovations occurred, people started seeing a bluish male apparition run down the stairs in the alley, fall, and then disappear.
Ooh,
And then
blue,
other times
huh?
there are a number of like unexplained cold spots and weird noises and things like that. So but I have to say, this actually does seem like one of the least haunted of all the theaters in Chicago because there truly are like an assload of other places that have incredible firsthand stories in Chicago.
Yes.
But I have had a chance to see quite a few productions from different companies when I lived there, and it really is a real shame that things went the way they did in recent years. But I mean, it sucks to suck, I guess. But that's kind of how I want to wrap that up. But yeah, so that's John Dillinger's death at the Victory Gardens Biograph, sort of in the alley.
Sort of in the alley, kind of. I wonder if he is like haunting the theater.
That would be really cool.
But like nobody's in there, so how are you supposed to know?
Wow.
Let's go. Hey, we've always said we want to start our own theater. Let's just go buy it. It'll be ours. We'll buy it for
plenty of money for that.
$10. Take it off your hands for a measly $10.
I mean, who knows at this point?
Oh my gosh. Huh. How interesting.
I like the space a lot. It's really, they have some really cool spaces there. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, there you go.
Nice. I feel bad that I haven't heard of that guy, but then again, I haven't heard of many gangsters at all.
Yeah. He's one of the bigger ones, but it's still, this was almost 100 years ago, which is nuts to think about. But the fact that we, like, our generation doesn't really pay as much attention to that stuff because it didn't really factor into any of our lives as well, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, plus, I mean, I'm sure gangsters still exist, but like we don't have a ton anymore.
We just have the mob. It's fine.
That is true. The mob in Vegas is real.
Oh, yes. And all the other places that they still are. La, 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 don't hurt me.
Yes, please. All right. Well, are you ready for major spooky ookie time?
Yes.
Okay. So I am taking us to the Paramount Theater in Austin, Texas.
Ooh.
I think this might be our first theater in Texas, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
So this one was brought to my attention because my friend Quincy went and saw a show there a couple of months ago, and he was like, "This theater has to be haunted, right? It looked pretty cool." And I like looked it up, and I was like, "Oh boy, howdy is it!"
Yay! Good.
So I'm gonna give you a little bit of history of it because it's kind of an interesting little place. Have you ever heard of it, the Paramount?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know anything about it.
Okay. Well, so the theater began construction February 1915, so kind of similar to your theater, and it was designed by John Eberson, who was a pretty big, well-known theater designer. It opened in 1915, October of 1915, under the name The Majestic. And then I didn't do any conversions, so if you want to, now's the time, but it cost $150,000 to build.
Okay, let's see.
In 1915. That was just a measly $4.6 million.
Oh, is that all?
That's all. To build this theater that sat over 1,300 people.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so it was a nice big place. One more conversion. On opening night, you could buy a ticket for 25 cents.
This is going to make me mad.
Let's see. How much do you think that would be?
What year? 1915?
1915, 25 cents. And the shows that they started out with were vaudeville variety shows.
Let's say like $35.
$7.81.
Oh! Ugh.
Not only is 25 cents cheap, but also $7.81 extra cheap. That's cheaper than going to see a movie at a movie theater now.
I'm mad.
Right? So nice and cheap. So as I just said, it started out mostly putting on vaudeville variety shows, which were extremely popular at the time. In fact, in 1916, less than like only a couple of months after it opened, Harry Houdini performed here.
Cool.
He was a part of a vaudeville troupe that was only meant to last a day. However, everybody loved him so much that he ended up staying for a full week by himself,
Nice.
putting on performances. He even allowed college students to challenge him to escape boxes and traps of their own creations.
That's super cool.
Right? I thought this was kind of cool. Fun fact, on the proscenium sounding board, just house left of the central medallion, I think you'll understand if you go in there, there is a small hole still there today, and this is known as the Houdini hole, which was allegedly created by the magician's crew for roping and rigging required for his tricks.
Ooh, that's cool.
Right? That's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So this theater quickly became the crowning jewel of Austin. And when it wasn't holding live performances, it was showing silent movies for, get this, 5 cents.
Oh, come on.
So let's see about that.
So that's what, $2?
I know, I was like, they're gonna be $1.56.
No, my God, come on.
Yeah, so you could go see a show here, a silent movie for $1.56. So in 1930, the film industry really started to take off, and the theater became under new management and ownership, and it underwent an extensive remodeling, including the addition of upholstered seats, state-of-the-art sound system, air conditioning, the removal of the opera boxes, and a giant brand new sign, like the big bulb sign that says Paramount. I think they called it a blade sign.
Oh.
And all of these things cost almost as much as the original building. So back to this. So in August of the 1930s, the theater reopened as the Paramount Theater, named for its new owner, Paramount Pictures.
Huh.
Yes. So its inaugural film was Animal Crackers, a Marx Brother comedy film.
I know that film.
Yeah,
actually,
I was like,
for once, yes, it's really friggin' funny. It's
nice.
Sometimes it's one of their famous ones. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I add in these names because I'm like, I might not know them, but you might know them.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So throughout the next decade, the theater ran Paramount Studios film premieres, such as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, King Kong, Dracula, Frankenstein, All Quiet on the Western Front, The Wizard of Oz, and Gone with the Wind.
Damn.
Yeah. This theater is well known. In 1966, so jumping ahead a little bit, in 1966, an estimated 30,000 people, about 15% of the city's population, attended the world premiere of Batman.
Whoa.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's known a lot more for its big movie premieres. So in the 1960s, people kind of started to move away from downtown and began viewing movies and TV from the comfort of their own homes, which obviously started to make it take a hit. On top of that, people were also starting to demand the desegregation of theaters, and so these areas became, for lack of a better term, somewhat hostile, so a lot of families didn't want to go to the theaters. However, it was for a good cause.
Yeah.
So, in the late 1960s, the theater successfully became desegregated and hired Walter Norris, the city's first African-American projectionists.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. However, though, in the 1970s, the near weekly murders in the city of Austin caused the city to become a ghost town after 5 p.m., which made the theater take a huge, massive hit.
No kidding. Yeah, I would do it.
At some point, it was even slated to be turned into a Holiday Inn.
Yeah, that'll help.
However, though, in the mid 1970s, it was put on the historic places list, and the city threw just under $2 million into its restoration. On April 22nd, 1976, Paramount celebrated the return of live performances with concerts by jazz musicians such as Dave Brubeck, who
I
packed
know
the
that
house.
name.
Huh?
I know that name.
Nice. And they also held many other famous musicians such as Billy Joel, Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson, and Cheech and Chong.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. In 1982, the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas film premiered at the Paramount with movie
Nice.
stars such as Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton.
Mhm.
And then we're going to skip forward quite a bit in history. So in 2000, the Paramount merged with the State Theater, which was its next door neighbor for 65 years. However, the Paramount was more film, the State Theater was more stage, and they merged them together to form Austin's Theater Alliance under joint management, and they began putting on live performances again.
Very cool.
On July 10th, 2014, President Obama became the first sitting president to appear in the theater.
Yay.
Yeah.
Good.
And in 2015, a new historically accurate 75-foot blade sign on the Paramount's facade was fabricated using old photographs and videos from the original blade for reference.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of like the whole history that the theater has been through. It's gone through lots of ups and downs. I think that this is extra cool. In 1974, the original fire curtain was discovered hanging in the rafters in perfect condition because it had been protected from light and other elements for 50 years, and it still hangs in the theater today.
Oh, cool.
And is most likely the oldest remaining original fire curtain in the country.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then if you remember me talking about the music hall up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is a hemp house, the Paramount is also a hemp house.
Oh, yay. Cool.
So it is one of the 11 original hemp houses still operating in the US today, which for anybody who doesn't remember, I'm not going to try and explain rigging again, but a hemp house, I just recently edited that episode and I was like, man, I'm an embarrassment. But a hemp house is basically
It's
all
not
the
your
original.
specialty. You don't have to know that.
I know. I was like, I don't. But basically, a hemp house is all of the original rope and rigging from that was 1915, where basically instead of using cables and automation and all that kind of a thing, you're using ropes and sandbags and all that fun stuff. So if you want to learn more about hemp houses, don't listen to my episode about the music hall. However, though, I will say if you Google hemp houses in the United States, the theaters do not pop up.
I
So,
was gonna say, I feel like it's gonna give you some different kind of answers these days.
yep, it gives you very, very, very different answers, which is bummer because I really want to learn about them, but Google says no.
Google says you're on some kind of list now.
I know, right? Well, I mean, hemp and weed is legal, so it's all right. All right.
For anyone who's listening and not watching, that was Jill throwing the hang 10 sign.
I am from Las Vegas after all. Alrighty, so are we ready for ghosty time?
So ready.
Okay, so this theater has got some pretty good ghosties and whatnot. So the first couple of things I'm going to talk about are just some encounters. So Laura Bauer, a member of the Austin Area Arts, recounted a manager near the bar was cleaning up late one night. She was alone, and when she heard somebody walking towards her across the creaking floor, she turned around to see who it was, but no one was there, and one of the bar stools was spinning.
Okay, that's super weird.
I know, right? That's when I'd be like,
it's one thing to be like, oh, I thought I heard something, or like, oh, I thought I whatever. But
like,
then you turn around and no.
yep, I'm out after that. Another one was Scott Anderson was spending some time cleaning the Paramount before it opened, and he quotes, "I slipped a Steely Dan CD into the theater's sound system, but after a certain amount of time, I noticed something odd. The volume was slowly beginning to be turned down."
Oh.
He says, "I could still hear the music, but it wasn't nearly as loud. The soundboard has sliders that move up and down so that the operator can set each audio input at a specific point. Although several of the other sliders remained where I had locked them into place, the CD volume control was definitely moved."
Somebody's not a fan of
Someone's not a fan of Steely Dan. And then he says, "After walking away and continuing to work, the music almost went completely silent, and when I returned, all the sliders were pushed all the way down, and the CD volume was all the way off."
So make another selection next time.
I know. So that one's like a big, like, no, I just don't like it. So yeah, so there's tons of different encounters of like cold spots, all that fun thing, little ghosty apparitions. However, though, this theater does have some well-known ghosts.
Ooh.
So the first one, which is one of the most recent ghosts spotted, is the projectionist Walter Norris.
Oh.
So Walter Norris, if you recall me just saying only a couple of minutes ago, is the first African-American projectionist in the city. Walter Norris continued to work at the Paramount for quite a few years and ended up dying of a cardiac arrest in the Paramount in 2000 during a screening of Casablanca.
Oh no.
So Walter was always seen eating candy or drinking a soft drink and just enjoying like his little sweet treat while operating theater equipment.
Oh.
And so apparently Walter's ghost likes to mess with the projection room equipment, preventing essentially anybody from working like anything in there working correctly. This was especially true when the Paramount recently switched over to using digital cinema software. So apparently there was one day where everything completely malfunctioned until one staff member had the silly idea to try and appease Walter's spirit with some sweet treats. And
Oh.
so they placed some candy and a soda on the desk, and within 3 minutes, everything started working correctly.
Oh, he just
And
wanted some candy.
candy. And so now it is a big tradition for them to always have at least a candy bar and a soft drink sitting on the equipment room to pay tribute to Walter and also to hopefully appease him.
Oh, that's so cute though.
I
I
know, I
love
think that's
that.
very cute. Um, so there's also a unnamed ghost that is just simply called the Cigar Man.
Ooh.
So the Cigar Man is often seen sitting high above the crowd in a theater box. He's always in the exact same spot and is usually seen smoking a cigar before vanishing into thin air. So theater goers and patrons and workers can often smell cigar smoke, which obviously most theaters, if not all of them, are going to be smoke free. So you shouldn't be able to smell something as abrasive as cigar smoke. And people would like to note that when you can smell it, there is an alley in the theater where you're allowed to go and smoke. However, it is on the far opposite side of the theater from where the Cigar Man is usually seen.
Ah. Mhm.
And then possibly the most notable ghost at the Paramount is the woman in white known as Emily. So Emily typically appears in the main theater room on the mezzanine and floats across towards the south wall where she will then disappear.
Cool.
Staff believe that she has taken up residence in the theater because the War Department of the Republic of Texas once stood on the plot of land near the Paramount. And so they have a theory that she's the wife of a soldier who never returned from duty and she's searching for him because that's all that women can do is search for a man. I mean, who knows? Maybe she was in love, but still. Thank you for laughing at that. I appreciate it.
That was incredible. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. One of the most eerie sights of this ghost Emily belongs to a longtime custodian, Tony Johnson, who was working one early morning in the auditorium and saw a pair of what looked like almost white nurse's shoes walking down the aisle, but they weren't attached to a body.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would freak out.
Icky,
Oh, I would
icky.
absolutely.
It was noted that he quit that day.
Yep, valid.
Like,
I
fair enough.
don't blame him at all.
And then for our so that was one of the most like eerie sightings that people recounted until recently, which is why I chose to
Ooh.
do this. So, very very recently, a theater pianist, Chad Lawson, took a last-minute photo of the theater as he was finishing up his practice and caught what looks like Emily's apparition. This is to the point that this is like one of the most compelling photos that people have, and it was like covered on every single news network.
Oh my god, show me.
Oh, I am. I'm gonna send it to
Okay.
you.
Because I was gonna say,
Um,
like, we should like, can you pull it up on your computer and like share your screen? Because I'm like,
I'll send it to you, and then on here when I go in and edit it, I'll throw it up. So one of the reasons that this is so compelling, because people try and take pictures of apparitions all the time, and it could just be
Mhm.
long exposure or whatever. It could just be somebody walking by. The reason that this one is so interesting is that basically Chad, like I said, was standing by his piano, took some pictures of the theater really quick because the piano is on the stage, and basically picture 1, there's nothing. Picture 2, there's someone. Picture 3, there's nothing.
Cool.
So let me send it to you. I'm gonna send you the like 1, 2, 3, and then I'll send you just a big one of the center one. All right, they have been sent to you. So really quick, the first and third photos basically show nobody in a spot that's right in the mezzanine hallway. It's up in the mezzanine, right in like the entryway. But the third or the second photo, which is the in-between one, basically shows an image of what really clearly looks like a woman in a white
It's so
dress.
clear.
Yeah, and she is quite tall and kind of looks like she's floating. But yeah, how
What?
nuts is that?
Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep.
What? That's not like this is a shadow person or a piece of dust or like a
No, that's a straight up
see-through
person.
person. That is a fucking person.
Mhm.
That's a full-on person. Like
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that.
I know. And like I said, it's one of the best photos that people like somebody has ever captured. I think this was in like I said, it was pretty recently. It was in the last couple of years that this was taken. So and I mean it's compelling enough to where, like I said, news networks, everybody like picked it up and whatnot.
Incredible. God,
Right.
it's
And
creepy.
I know. Well, and what I love about it is that like it's very clearly like if you were a concert pianist or whatever he was, Chad Lawson, I don't think it said what he was necessarily doing, but it's like the piano is in the center of the stage. So like naturally it's a beautiful theater. You're gonna like snap a picture of it being like, oh,
Yeah.
like just finished up my
Yeah.
practice. So yeah, and she's just there. Right?
Yeah, you can yeah, he really was just like, here's a pretty picture of the grand piano on this beautiful stage in the house and just like tra la la. Oh shit.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, to me
Oh
it's the 1,
no.
2, 3 where it's like she there, then she
That's
not.
nuts.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
that is like nothing I've ever seen. That's wild.
Mhm. I know. Yeah. I
Ah,
thought that was pretty cool. That's why when Quincy was like, "There has to be something at the Paramount, right?" And I looked it up and I saw that, like, this is what pops up for, like, the first, like, 4 pages of Google, and
yeah,
it's
that makes
like,
sense.
"Okay."
Yeah,
So
people who are listening and like when you get a chance, you have to look at this. Like I know we're gonna be putting this
oh, yeah.
on socials and stuff, but like holy crap, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. This one's eerie.
What? This
Yep.
like I was absolutely prepared for it to be like, here's a see-through, shadowy, like billowy,
Mhm.
like puff of smoke
A
kind of thing.
wisp of
That is a
something.
person.
Mhm.
It is a
Yeah.
person.
Yep.
is a
No.
solid figure person. There's no seeing
And like
through this person. I'm like losing my mind.
no, and like you can tell that like it's a woman too. Like it has
Yes,
like
oh
the
yeah.
hair. It looks like she's wearing like a white dress with like a belt
Yeah.
and everything.
Or
Like
like with an apron or something. Like
mhm.
my brain goes to 1940s hair with
Yes.
an apron. Like
Mhm. Yep.
kind of my hair now, but if these two were the suicide rolls, so
Yes.
it's like the big curled like victory rolls kind of thing, that's
Mhm.
what I'm seeing. And
Yep.
then like a dress or an apron. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Mind bursting.
Mhm.
This is incredible. Like
Love it.
oh!
We believe in ghosts.
And if you don't before seeing this, please explain this. Like
I mean, honestly,
I would
okay.
like I'm the biggest critic. Like I love to just be like that is very clearly like a puff of smoke or like you move the camera wrong and it's a light
Mhm.
blur or it's it's
Yeah.
something that is a person.
Well, like I was thinking it's like I feel like last season for us, like we did some pretty cool ones and some like interesting ones. Now we're doing ones with like evidence. Cause like I did this one and then like what, last week or 2 weeks ago, you would have done the one with the video where like
It's so cool. It's so
love it.
cool.
I love it.
A
It's very
lot
exciting.
more. A lot more.
Yes.
Ah.
Oh yes. We're gonna keep finding more. But anyway, so yeah, so those are all the ghosts. And one last thing to end on. Both Emily and the elderly cigar smoke man have been seen in the theater for over 50 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, so they have been around for a while. So yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, that is the Paramount Theater with a crazy, crazy kind of rich, nice movie theatrical
Ooh.
history, and then also some extreme spooky ookies.
Damn, dude. That's wild.
Oh, I love that you like it.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
Mhm.
This is why we do this.
I know, it's very exciting. Alrighty. Well, good job, good stories.
Yay.
We done did it for another week.
Yay. Woo.
Whoopity whoopity. But
Yay. And people don't forget to keep writing in stories and stuff. We want more listener stories because we'll just keep compiling them and then we can like tell them like we'll just keep doing the different iterations of it. So yeah.
Exactly.
Writing them.
Awesome. Well, hopefully next time we meet, you will be at home and I won't be sick.
Hooray.
All right, for not being sick. I feel like crap.
Oh no. Okay, well, go make her get you some soup and
I will.
all right, feel better. Okay, bye everybody.
Okay, bye.
Until next time, don't forget to leave the ghost light on. Thank you for joining us. Leave the Ghost Light On was created, hosted, and edited by Danica Jackson and Jill Horn.
Musical composition created by Jay Nygaard.
Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Spotify, and more.